to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Monica Duran.
Here.
Zachary Urban.
Present.
Tim Fitzgerald.
Here.
George Pond.
Present.
Larry Matthews.
Here.
Janice Hoppy.
Present.
Genevieve Wooden.
Present.
Christy Davis.
Christy is not going to be here tonight.
Okay.
I received a notice. I'm going to approve the minutes unless there's some changes to the minutes of May 2nd, May 9th, or study notes of May 9th. Are there any changes?
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Mr. Urban?
Thank you. In Janice's consensus, it indicated that she had asked staff to review the retrofit option, and in fact, it was the plan that I had presented, so I just want to make that clarification.
In the study session notes.
Study session notes, sorry.
Can you make note of that and give it to our...
Yes, I'll make note of that and send that to you. Thank you.
Any other changes? If not, then they stand approved as presented along with the one change. Now I'm going to read a proclamation. I'm going to call Jason Bray forward. This proclamation is in regard to, is this on? Yes. June as being Wheat Ridge Safety Month. Let me hand this to you. To recognize June as Wheat Ridge Safety Month, which is the National Safety Month focused on reducing leading causes of injury and death at work, on the roads and in our homes and communities, and to draw attention to safe practices that will decrease the likelihood of accidents. Whereas all citizens deserve to live in communities that promote safe and healthy living environments, and through the support and observance of National Safety Month, each year, employees are helped to reverse an increase in accidental injuries and deaths in the workplace. Whereas the city supports safety efforts and has taken a proactive stance in providing a safe and healthy work environment for its employees by supporting the Be Safe Safety Committee. Whereas the city works to prevent accidental injuries by educating employees about safe and healthy practices in the workplace through training and encouragement. And whereas the beginning of the summer season, traditionally a time of increased accidents and injuries, is an appropriate time to focus attention on risk management and prevention. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council of Wheat Ridge formally designate June as Wheat Ridge Safety Month and urge all citizens to establish and maintain safe practices in their home, workplaces, and communities. And Jason, as a representative of the Public Works Department, I'm expecting to see you enact all safety measures possible.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Do you want to speak?
Sure. On behalf of the Safety Committee, our partners in safety, the employees of Wheat Ridge, and the citizens, I'd like to thank the mayor and the city council for this issuance.
Thank you. The one we just had. Yeah, the 16th. Yeah.
We can now move on to citizens' right to speak, and this will be on any matter not on the agenda for a maximum of 3 minutes, and that you have signed the public comment register, or roster. And that one's for items, okay. I'll call you to the podium, Clancy Degenhart, followed by Michael Ilio.
Again, I guess I apologize for my hat. Last time I was here, I indicated because I have light-sensitive situation, but not bad-looking hat we can all be proud of, though, right? Well, my comments are regarding what I heard at the last study session regarding the 38th Avenue major redesign project that's involved in the process here at the city. It's encouraging that the council has come to the understanding that 38th Avenue redesign, $10 million worth project deserves additional time for more input, research that is necessary to collect all the facts from all the sources to make an informed, intelligent decision that is a once in a century, I think, for our city. The design decision must be based on facts that support the highest possibility of financial and physical success. I think we have to use realism is what I'm suggesting. I also, in addition to my representing myself as an individual resident, I represent as president of the board of directors of the Wheat Ridge Water District. We need to have an opportunity. We got the information of the business and property owners meetings for 38th Avenue, and we attended a meeting on May the 12th, if I remember right, a Thursday, and we obviously had no realistic opportunity to prepare anything for that following Monday's meeting. We just had our board meeting, which is once a month on the 10th. We won't have another one until the 14th of June, so we, hopefully have the opportunity to complete our research. We have some consultant situation in process, so we can come up with facts, financial effects that it will have on the water district depending upon what's decided. So we'd appreciate a little consideration and patience on this process. If that would be a reasonable request, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Degenhardt, I didn't ask you for your address. Could you please?
621 Garland Street, I think I wrote it on the.
You did, but we like you to say it. Thank you. And Michael Elo? Okay, and then John Clark was our last speaker.
Actually, I'm so far behind, I don't have time to talk about 38th or taxes tonight, maybe next week. But John Clark, 4665 Swadley Street. And it has actually been a while since I've been here. Been very busy, so again, I might come back next week and talk about taxes and so on and so forth. But tonight, I'm going to just touch on a couple of things, and I'll try to be brief. First of all, it's been quite a few weeks ago, I had a chance to go over to the Rec Center and watch the School to Work Alliance program, or what they call SWAP at work. It's a very cool program that gives job-seeking skills to high school kids. And I watched about 100 students from 9 different Jeffco schools, 20 of which were right here from Wheat Ridge, spend a day with over 20 employers in all kinds of industries. They went through interviews and got feedback, received awards, learned about real-world employment, and they all got lunch from PHers at the end. So great program, and hats off to Patrick Goff, Council Member Wooden, and Jerry, the treasurer, Jerry DiTulio, for stepping up and funding that endeavor. It was pretty fun to watch. So about a week or so later, I was privileged to attend a mass tree planting with about 20 or so Wheat Ridge High School students at Lewis Meadows Park for Arbor Day. Again, Patrick was there. I think he can attest to how cold and rainy it was. But they only got about half the trees that they had planned to, but still got about 25 of them in the ground. So very cold, very rainy, but it was still good to see so many Wheat Ridge High School students working on such a great community service project. So, and finally, the Wheat Ridge High School STEM team, their second place finish in Detroit this year. So 23 students took 2 cars this year, and a hydrogen prototype was leading in fuel efficiency all weekend, and then was outdone by Queen's College out of Canada. Never heard of them, but they're pretty good. The very last round on Sunday afternoon, and I think everybody learned a very good lesson. I can't begin to explain how proud I am of not only my son, but all 23 students who made the trip, and the numerous students who helped build these cars but stayed behind. 23 high school students in Detroit is a pretty big undertaking, so I have to applaud the teachers, the UCD professors, and the UCD student mentors. There are many lessons learned in this program besides the design, the mechanical engineering, and the composites. There's teamwork, leadership, as I think it was Jim McKay used to say, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, and all the way down to spending 5 days in a city like Detroit. To look around Detroit and see what happens to a city that tries to tax and spend its way into prosperity, it's not a pretty sight. And I made sure everyone looked around and learned that very important lesson. So this program, the STEAM project at Lutheran, which is looking very good, I was over there last week, the new construction program next year are all playing a vital part of making Wheat Ridge High School the place for Jeffco kids, a school that everyone in Wheat Ridge can be proud of. So thanks for your time. I did bring some stickers that the kids brought from Detroit. Come see me after the meeting. Pretty cool Shell Eco Marathon stickers if your kids want them or something. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, John. And we're all very proud of the STEM team, so thank you for bringing that up. And let's move on through public hearings. Council Bill 082016. Jen Wooden.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is Council Bill number 08-2016, an ordinance approving a zone change from planned commercial development to planned industrial development, and a request for approval of an outline development plan for property located at 12700 West 44th Avenue, case number WZ-15-10. At issue, the request for approval of a zone change from planned commercial development, PCD, to planned industrial development, PID, for property located at 12700 West 44th Avenue. There is also a concurrent request for approval of a specific development plan, SPD, for the same property, which will be considered for approval by resolution.
Thank you, Jen. I need an ordinance number on this.
1597.
1597.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to open the public hearing.
Madam Mayor, I'm kind of the initial staff report on this application because I believe, and in a minute we'll hear from the applicant's going to be asking that this hearing, now that it's been opened, be continued to June 27th. And the applicant has the right to ask that their hearing be continued. Before, however, we get to that, I do want to at least get into the record a legal protest, which you should have on the dais in front of you, signed by, there's a cover letter from Levon Beckfield, and it is as council is probably aware, under the charter and the code, when there's rezoning, individual rezoning, a protest may be filed by owners of at least 20% of any one side or across from or adjacent to any one side of the property to be rezoned. Here we have kind of an unusual shaped property. It's got really two southern boundaries, but if you combine those boundaries, which is clearly the way to view that, this particular property is at least a third, probably more. It easily satisfies the 20% requirement for a legal protest. And I wanted to make sure that that's in the record because, as the charter requires, as does the code, a legal protest has to be filed by the time of the public hearing. This is the public hearing. It's been filed. The consequences, you probably are aware of, a legal protest on a rezoning is that any rezoning then must be approved by 6 votes. Otherwise, it's 5 votes, as is always the case for the passage of an ordinance. So I wanted to make sure that you've received that into the record. It's part of the record. And at the continued hearing date, that will be the voting requirement for this application, despite the fact there's been intervening time. Hearing's now open. If the hearing is then continued to June 27th, you probably take all the evidence then and act. In a minute, I would like to ask that we hear from the applicant so they can actually make that request of you to continue. I'm informed that they want to do that. If the case is in fact continued, as was pointed out, you've got a final development plan also on the agenda. Under council rules, though, ordinances on first reading come after ordinances on second reading, and so we'll have to take that intervening ordinance regarding changing delinquent taxes, etc. But then we'll get to the final development plan, and I will ask there, and we'll make a similar record, or I think the applicant will probably just ask you as part of this request, that you also continue that. That's not a public hearing, it's an action item. but obviously you want to consider both items at the same time. Do you have questions of me, or shall we at least get the applicant to make their request, assuming they're going to make it?
Let me ask the question. As a continuance, we therefore really wouldn't discuss it tonight, and we would hold that discussion until June
That's correct.
27th?
That's correct. You've opened the hearing, and actually you've taken a little bit of information. The case has been read into the record, it's got an ordinance number, and you have a piece of evidence, which is in the form of this legal protest, which is important and becomes a part of the hearing record, but there wouldn't be any other testimony tonight.
So this would be an appropriate time to take that testimony?
There'd be appropriate time to ask the applicant to confirm whether they wish to have the
Okay.
matter continued.
Do I need a swearing in at all?
It's quasi-judicial, so yes,
That's even for this?
it's a rezoning, yep.
That's right. She's got her right hand up. Do you swear to tell the truth as you know it to be? If so, answer, I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, members of City Council, city staff, and members of the public, my name is Carolyn White. I am Land Use Counsel for the applicant in the matter that's before you. And as your city attorney stated, we do wish to request that the council grant a continuance to the date of June 27th. And the reason for that continuance is that we did become aware today that the legal protest was filed. We also became aware this evening that one council member is not able to attend this evening. And we think it optimal in the interest of due process that the full council be given the opportunity to hear this matter. And we understand from staff that the full council is expected to be present on June 27th. So we therefore ask for a continuance both for the ODP public hearing ordinance and also the resolution on the SDP, since they ought to travel together, up into the June 27th date.
Can we put them both together, even though that,
Well, you're supposed to act on the FDP,
Yeah.
after the ordinance, and, it's council rules. So what I would like to do
council
is,
can also make that decision?
yes, you can waive those rules, that's
true.
That's true. What I'd at least like at this point would be a motion, if you're inclined to make it, which I would actually urge you to do, because if the applicant's requesting continuance, they've got the right to do that, to continue case number WZ 15-10, the public hearing on case number WZ 15-10 until June 27th, 2016.
Jenny, please.
I move to continue case number WZ-15-10 until June 27th.
Second.
As far as the second item, the resolution, can we also do this at that time if the council decides to?
Yes, you can. In fact, if this motion passes, I think what I'll ask is that you take a motion to waive the rules to enable you to take that other matter right away.
So
So
we have
do
a
this
second
one first. Mhm.
from Larry Matthews, and please cast your votes. This is on the continuance. Oh, wait, we need a discussion, sorry.
No, yeah, and I apologize. This is just, I'm looking at calendaring and just, I may have a conflict that night. And so in the interest of hearing the applicant say that we're waiting for a full slate, just to fully disclose that I tentatively have a conflict that I'm working through. So I don't know if that's just me telling you where it's at. So.
There's a risk in life, I think.
Madam Mayor, would you care to hear from the applicant on that point?
Yes,
What I would say is our goal, obviously, in requesting a continuance is to provide the opportunity for the full council to hear the matter. If it turns out that that Councilman Pond would not be available that evening, we might request yet another continuance. The code only gives us the right the first time. After that, it's discretionary, or more discretionary for you. So I would just say, given we understand that the reason is really to make sure that the full council has the opportunity to hear it, if it turns out that there's another conflict, we might be in a position to be asking you for a second continuance. And we
I see a lot of
consider it
nodding
favorably
heads,
at
so,
that.
all right, that sounds, so, any more discussion on the continuance? If so, please cast your votes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, let's then go on to
If
see
I
if we
could
want to waive.
ask for council to take a motion to waive the council rules to allow it to take up item number 3 out of order.
So moved.
So moved and so seconded by.
Second.
By Mr. Matthews. Any discussion of that? Nope, please cast your votes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay, now let's go ahead and do that resolution, a continuance on that resolution.
And that could be a fairly simple motion to continue Resolution 24, 2016, case number WZ 15-11 until June 27th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Cast your votes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, council, for your cooperation. So we've removed item number 1, or we haven't removed it, we've given it another date. So we can move on to item number 2. Let me get to my records here. It's all marked.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's see if she's ready. Are you ready? Just give him a minute to shuffle out.
I don't use much equipment. So maybe just you.
It's coming. We were giving him a little bit of time to. All right, if Councilmember Duran would please read item number 2.
Title, Council Bill Number 092016, an ordinance amending the Wrcc Code of Laws pertaining to interest on delinquent taxes, exemption of fundraising sales, and licensing requirements for events. Issue. The request is for approval of amendments to the City Code of Laws pertaining to interest on delinquent taxes, exemption of fundraising sales, and licensing requirements for events. The 3 proposed amendments outlined in Attachment 1 are as follows. Amendment 1, interest on delinquent taxes. Section 22-43 of the Code currently imposes interest of 1% per month on past due taxes without limitation or eligibility for waiver. The recommendation is to amend Section 22-43 to cap interest at 18% and to permit abatement, a waiver, of interest by the treasurer or designee to a floor of 6%. Amendment 2, limited exemption for fundraising sales for exempt organizations. Section 22-58 of the Code requires charitable or nonprofit organizations to collect sales tax on all sales that they make, including periodic sales events to raise funds to support their activities. The recommendation is to amend Section 22-58 to exempt sales and admission charges by charitable or nonprofit organizations up to $5,000 per transaction and a total of $25,000 per calendar year. Amendment 3, reduced licensing requirements for events. Section 11-226 of the Code requires a non-resident vendor or event participant to obtain a temporary license for $20 and pay a $100 tax deposit, which offsets tax due when they report their sales to the city and the balance refunded. The recommendation is to amend Section 11-226 to provide certain exemptions for temporary license fees and tax deposits.
Thank you. This is first reading, so we can go on to a motion.
I move to approve Council Bill Number 09-2016, an ordinance amending the Wrcc Code of Laws pertaining to interest on delinquent taxes, exemption of fundraising sales, and licensing requirements for events on first reading. Order it published. Public hearing set for Monday, June 13th, 2016 at 7 p.m. in City Council chambers, and that it take effect 15 days after final publication.
I need a second on that.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Hoppy. Cast your votes.
Motion carries 6-1. Councilmember Fitzgerald voting no.
Item number 4. We're not skipping it, but as you all know, we've postponed it. Item number 4, Councilmember Hoppy.
Thank you.
Motion to award a contract for the ADA Transition Plan Consulting Services to Alfred Beznik and Company, Denver, Colorado, in the amount of $43,247.60. Issue: the City of Wheat Ridge is required under Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, to perform a self-evaluation of its current transportation infrastructure and to develop policies, practices, and programs in addressing the mandate to provide accessible mobility options in the public streets rights of way. Alfred Besnich and Company has been selected by the established procurement process to provide consulting services for the fee of $43,247.60. The scope of services includes the development of guidelines and procedures for an ADA transition plan that would provide guidance for the planning and implementation of necessary program, activity, and facility modifications over the coming years. It is anticipated that the work for the update will be completed in about 7 months upon contract execution.
Thank you. We have staff present. If we have questions.
Yeah, we have our engineer manager, Steve Wynn, is here if you have any questions.
Council? Questions of staff? I do have one. It discusses a coordinator.
Yes.
Can you explain that a little bit?
You just have to have somebody on staff that
We don't have to
is
hire
designated that title. No, if you want to give us an employee, we'll take it.
I
But
shouldn't have started. I shouldn't have.
well, I don't know if that position's been designated. Steve, maybe you want to.
We do have one member on staff expressing to be the coordinator. That requires training and certification. And what that person does is facilitate specific requests. If we have a person with disability that comes in to request that the cities to provide the needs of that along the route, this person will personally handle the request to make sure that that process is going through proper channel. So this one person will dedicate that part of the job just to handle just that, among other things, under the ADA program development.
Working with the consultant, perhaps.
Yep.
Okay, that was the question I had. Anyone else? Nope. Then I need oh, I don't think I have any public comment on it, but I do need a motion.
I move to approve a contract for the ADA Transition Plan Consulting Services to Alfred Beznik and Company, Denver, Colorado, in the amount of $43,247.60.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Urban. This is her first night doing this, so be nice to her.
I think she's got
Yeah,
it.
we can hassle Ms. Shaver all the time, you know. She's sweating. She's perspiring. Oh, she's. If there's no discussion, please cast your votes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Item 5, Mr. Fitzgerald.
This is a bid or motion. The issue is the Wheat Ridge Recreation Center currently has 20 pieces of advanced strength free weight equipment and 19 pieces of circuit equipment for use by Recreation Center participants in the fitness area. The weight equipment was purchased in 2000 and the circuit equipment was purchased in 2004. The equipment is in need of replacement due to age, advancements in design, and increasing maintenance requirements. Replacing the equipment will improve the fitness program as well as meet the expectations of participants for quality service. This was included in the budget. The budget for this was $110,000. Is a motion in order?
Let's see if there's any. Are you ready for questions? Okay. Yes, please, and then we can go to discussion if need be.
I move to approve payment to Commercial Fitness Solutions in the amount of $109,994.20 for purchase of circuit and advanced strength equipment for use at the Wheat Ridge Recreation Center. And I note that's a discount of $63.
No, not quite.
Second.
So you've moved. Did I get a second?
Yes,
Genevieve? I didn't see that. Is there any questions or discussion? Yes, Mr. Urban.
For the city manager, how will the former equipment be surplused or liquidated?
It's traded in. They give us a trade allowance. Joyce can probably speak to exactly what that is, but the amount, I believe it's in the packet. I think it's in the invoice.
I believe it's about $20,000 rounded.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? No? Please cast your votes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Item number 6, Mr. Pond.
Thank you. Motion to approve appointment of David Opp to the Cultural Commission in District 3. There currently is a vacancy on the Cultural Commission in District 3. David Opp is a resident of District 3 and has submitted an application requesting an appointment to the Cultural Commission. And council members Fitzgerald and I have requested that he be appointed to fill that vacancy. Is a motion in order?
It would be.
I move to appoint David Opp to the Cultural Commission representing District 3, term to expire March 2nd, 2018.
Second.
Second by Mr. Fitzgerald. Please cast your votes.
Motion carries 7-0.
That really zipped through our meeting tonight. So let's see if there's any comments. Anything else? City managers matters.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder for City Council and our public, let's see, it's Wednesday, May 25th from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. here at City Council Chambers here. We are having our public scoping open house for the Wadsworth Boulevard reconstruction project. This is a requirement as part of the environmental assessment process, and we are going to be presenting project information to the public and offering an opportunity for the public to help identify any issues, environmental issues that the consultants need to be addressing. So
5 to 7?
5:30 to 7 p.m. here at City Hall Council Chambers, Wednesday, May 25th.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it. City attorney,
Nothing, thank you.
city clerk, deputy city clerk. Elected officials, let's start with you, Ms. Duran.
Yes, I'd like to invite everyone to a community meeting to learn about the merger between West Metro Fire and the Wheat Ridge Fire Department. It will be Wednesday, May 25th at 3850 High Court, which is the Wheat Ridge Grange, and it will start at 6:30 p.m. Thank you.
Councilmember Hoppy.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mr. Urban.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to invite residents to a neighborhood meeting tomorrow evening, starting at 6:30 at Wilmore Davis Elementary School. We'll be going for about an hour or so to talk about any neighborhood issues or concerns that residents may have. Hopefully catching up with old neighbors, meeting new neighbors, and getting a chance to sit down and talk as a neighborhood. We'll be doing another meeting on Saturday, June 4th at 9 a.m. at Randall Park. That'll be outside, so bring a chair. And then Tuesday, June 7th at 6:30 p.m. at Trinity Church at 45th and Newland, approximately. Hope to see you all out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pond?
I will just thank the constituents of District 3 who joined Councilman Fitzgerald and I this Saturday at the Rec Center for Coffee with Council. We had some good discussions. I've got some notes I have to hand off to staff on some questions that came from that. But I just want to thank everyone for participating and coming to that meeting.
Mr. Fitzgerald?
Nothing tonight.
Just a little shout out for our police department. I had the pleasure of attending the awards ceremony last week, and we have an awful lot of excellent people on the force. And I'd like to thank them all for their continued service and duty. And I mean that in all sincerity. And on a lighter note, who says we can't get something done? Especially if we put it off.
Ms. Wooden?
Okay, about 3 weeks ago, we had the 44th Avenue cruise, and we got rained out, second year in a row. So we started the cruise, but unfortunately, we had to end it early. And we do have a lot of these goodie bags left. And one of the main purposes of doing the 44th Avenue cruise was to highlight the businesses along 44th Avenue. There's over 35 automotive-related businesses on 44th, and so the cruise was an opportunity to bring other residents out to the area and see what stores and businesses are along there. To that end, we have these goodie bags, and we have lots of them. So I gave all the counselors one tonight, but there's going to be a lot at the front desk here at City Hall. So if you would like to come in and get your goodie bag, you get this bag that talks about the businesses on 44th Avenue. And there's a variety of coupons inside, and you get things like spray bottles, there's a shot glass, there's keychains, there's all kinds of goodies, and the bags are different. So if you would like a goodie bag from the 44th Avenue cruise, please come into City Hall and just pick one up at the front. Thanks.
Great. I would like to remind everybody that Jefferson County Library is having their book sale. It's called the Whale of a Used Book Sale, and it's coming up. Preview night, if you're a friend of the library, is Thursday, June 2nd, 6 to 8. It's at Jefferson County Fairgrounds. If you're not a friend, then you have to wait to get all your favorite books till the next morning, which is Friday, June 3rd, 8 a.m. So I believe that's it for tonight, and council is adjourned.
Thank you.